Hello tacticians, it's Nox here, and we've had an interesting announcement over the weekend from Ratatosk. Now I've done a search in Discord, which is why I'm actually going to be going from bottom to top in the search here, but Ratatosk has told us that there's a new faction announcement where they will be teasing all next week. And there was one hint, a lot of people like it. Not the biggest hint, but I guess they have to start small and start building up. The final thing they do want to say is it isn't Chaos. I know we're going to catch it for that because we're short on Chaos. We will, in capitals, be making that up to you eventually. But the next faction to be complete and approved was not a Chaos faction. So I'm hoping this means this is an Imperial faction we're looking at, because we have had two Xenos factions back to back. And as amazing as they are, my poor badges just can't take any more Xenos. I haven't even levelled up Darkstrider's abilities. Admittedly, he's probably not worthwhile of them at the moment. So where does that leave us? Well, back in November they had a poll over which faction we would like to see next, and the champions were the Tau, which we have now got. In second and third place were two Imperial factions, the Space Marines and the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Space Marines were broken down into their top 5, which were Space Wolves, Grey Knights, Blood Angels, Salamanders and Dark Angels, and all have a massive fan base and all would be great additions to this game. If you ask me, the one Space Marine faction I do like comes down to when we had the Space Hulk board game. And for there, we had the Blood Angels in their bright red Terminator armour wandering around the Space Hulks, killing the Gene Stealers. As such, my vote is going to go for the Blood Angels. Whether it is or not is anybody's guess, but at least it's fun to speculate, and Ratatosk will probably drop a few more hints this week, so keep an eye on Discord. Now, keeping in the theme, looking at the past to predict the future, we have Orn Shi's event starting on Monday. So I thought I'd look at the mission requirements with Morgan Ra and Jainzar, and have a look at my characters to see if I'm in a good spot. Now, I did actually manage to unlock Morgan Ra and Jainzar, but I did have to purchase the bundles that came with them to do so. So looking at the most frequent one, there was no summons. We had it appear twice in both events, so I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back. However, it's a very broad category to look at, and really you could even have Aleph Null in that mission as long as you just didn't spawn any scarabs. So we'll move on. There were 3 missions which required Bolter only. And to be honest, this isn't a bad idea to level up your Ultramarines anyway. They're needed with the Indomitus Crusade and also the Indomitus Elite. And there are 1 or 2 levels where you have to use the 3 starting Ultramarines to get past them. So really having Bellator and Certus and Varro leveled up isn't a bad idea. Although admittedly Varro doesn't use a bolter. In joint third place we've got the minimum of 4 hits, power weapon usage, ranged only and no mech. Now, for the minimum of 4 hits, my top picks are actually Volk and Burchard. The reason being, Volk has the minimum of 4 hits which are ranged, but he also has a power weapon, and Burchard, because not only has he got a minimum of 4 hits, he uses a bolter and also has a power weapon. So they both tick off multiple usages. And to be honest, Volk is absolutely incredible, keeping up with some other characters, although maybe not beating them, in the guild boss raids. Rotbone and Angrax also deserve a mention here because they also have 4 hits and power weapon usage. Speaking of power weapons, there's not actually that many characters with it in the game, with many of them either having to purchase, such as Yarrick, or you need to be lucky enough to have pulled them from the requisition scrolls, such as Malladus and Rotbone. The rest you should be able to farm, and they're the Black Templars and the ones in the Black Legion. And so, if it was me, I'd be focusing again, as I've mentioned these 2 characters before, as Burchard and Volk, as they are used with other restrictions, and so cover 2 rather than just trying to cover 1 option here. The final 2 options, the ranged only and no mech, they're very wide, and it's not really worth covering the characters you can use here because, quite frankly, it's almost any of them. Lastly, later this week we have the Tournament Arena making a return, where I will be taking in Darkstrider to see how well he actually does, although let's be honest, I don't think anyone's expecting much from him. Although, I'll be very glad if I'm wrong. So what faction do you think is coming next? Are you looking forward to Orn Shi? Do you think I'm wrong and think Darkstrider's the best thing since sliced bread? Please leave your comments below and I'll do my best to respond. As always, please like and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.